Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we have got super game improvement. Again, if you've been following us, we've been working through the gamut. This is our 80 mile an hour test that we've verified, and it's the same swing for everything. But today we're also going to put a 70 mile an hour test in there because this is definitely who they're aimed at. Today's four models. We have got the Ping G730. We've got the Mizuno JPX 925 Hotmetal, King Tech X from Cobra, and Callaway's Elyte X. These are all big body clubs.
Yeah, this is the game improvement, super game improvement category. There's the biggest clubs, the most loft, strongest loft, which is again why you picked this group, right?
Yep.
And they're the big high handicap clubs for distance people, right? If you really want distance, this is it.
Touch on that loft, because I don't think, even in the comments now, we get people like, well, bend all the clubs to the same loft to make it a fair test. It's not really how it works.
No, well, it's more to it than just a loft, right? It's just a CG, and they move, put tungsten in places and move CG around, so that changes things a little bit too.
So the reason why these are all in the same category, we've got super game improvement, is because, let's say, take a look at the lofts here. The strongest loft's the King Tech X, and everything else is kind of 28 degrees.
Right.
Their body size is so big that if this was to be a blade, 34 to 35 degrees 7i, it would go to the moon.
Yeah,
it's already launching high.
Right.
So the loft, yes, it cheats a little bit because it obviously creates faster ball speed and stronger ballistic conditions, but it's offset by the body size for a reason.
Right, absolutely. Oh, you actually got more room to hit it too. I mean, people don't hit it in the center golf club. I mean, how a robot doesn't hit in the center golf club.
Yeah.
So, obviously you miss hitting on the toe and the heel and all over the place. This more mass helps.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, let's jump into it. We're going to start with a 70 mile an hour robot test with each model. I think we start with the Callaway Elyte X and we'll move on from there. Let's go with it.
Pretty straight, tiny bit left.
Okay, and I don't know if people are diehards watching these videos, and you might be a tweener between game improvement and super game improvement. You might be picking the bones out of this. If you can remember the last video, we had about 140 yards carry and about 40-degree land angle. So let's see if there's any differences there. On that first one, well, you touched on it in the last video, under 4,000. Only a sniff, but under.
Yeah, it's getting close. At that point, 7 iron is probably your longest club in your bag.
Right.
Maybe a 6 iron.
Yep.
So you got to keep that in mind as well. A lot of these clubs, are really designed with stronger lofts. They have gap wedges. Some of them have 2 gap wedges. Don't see a lot of that anymore. Thank God. That's too many wedges.
Right.
But at some point in time, you run out of clubs. So I mean, there's obviously an offset to having these strong lofts.
Okay.
That being said, they are good golf clubs. They're easy to hit.
Yeah.
And that's really what they're designed for. And
we're going to talk about why they're easy to hit when we get to that 3D scan section. And then we've also got that dispersion graph data. So don't forget, jump in the comments. Let us know what you think. If you're loving these videos or you're loving these models, we want to hear about it. Next up on our hit list is going to be the Ping G730. Let's do that.
Yep.
All right.
Pretty damn straight too. Maybe falling a little right.
Same distance, 140-ish, but we picked up those RPMs. We went from 39-ish, 3970, I think it was, to 4,200. So
that's an advantage.
Yeah, 250, 300 RPMs.
Lost a little bit of distance, but not much.
No.
Yep.
Okay, next up, we've got Cobra's King Tech X. And we're going to jump into some 3D scan data, but this is a standout from the 3D scan data.
Yeah, it's not quite as bulky as some of the other ones. It certainly doesn't look it.
Yeah.
That's the biggest difference I noticed, really. What do you think?
Looking down on it, I agree. It's in this category because it's loft, essentially, and what it's designed for.
It's still pretty wide sole and everything else, but
it's a little different.
Yeah, it's not quite as bulky as some of the other ones.
Okay, let's give this one a 70 mile an hour test.
That one's right dead center down the middle.
Okay, I think this was the stronger, this was the stronger lofted one, 1 degree.
Right.
And look at those RPMs now. We've dropped under, 39 was our lowest prior to this. Now we're at 37. So there's a 500 RPM difference at 70 miles an hour between the King Tech and the Ping.
Yeah, you definitely, that's kind of you need some speed to get those things, get them there, right?
Yeah.
So.
But distance 140, and this is interesting, I think, to talk about while we're here is, even though they're really strong in loft, and this one's like stronger, we're not seeing a massive distance advantage. No. There's slower speed for it. So you need to think about other things. You're talking about 1 yard.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Something else is needed.
Yeah, centeredness of contact is probably going to be the most important thing, right? And that comes to do with the sole and how you hit down on it and how you release it. So.
Okay. Last on the list, Mizuno. We talk about this all the time, how we may not valued these as much as what we should.
Well, you should sell more of these. I mean, it's a really good golf club, and it sells well all through the country. I don't even think we have too many clubs on our wall, so sometimes just don't get picked.
That's true.
But yeah, it's a really good golf club, and it's actually one of the smaller looking ones, not quite as small as the Cobra, but clean looking and a relatively small footprint.
Okay, let's give it a hit. All right, in the middle for RPMs, that's kind of one paying attention to here. 3,800, 140 carry again, identical. It's just really not too much going on there in all of them.
No, they're relatively close.
Let's jump to the table and do a quick compare of descent angle maybe. So scrolling through, this is just looking at the center shots from 70 mile an hour, and we see it live on camera there, but nice to stack them up next to each other. There is one standout model out of this batch.
Yep.
It broke the 4,000 RPM barrier and it broke the 40-degree land angle barrier.
Yeah, the Ping is definitely better getting the ball in the air.
Okay.
Right, so I mean, definitely launched a little bit higher, landed a little steeper, and got more spin. It sounds like a little bit loud, but it's trade-offs for everything.
And these are all cast to my knowledge. Oh, yeah. Well, the Cobra's got forged, which means it's got forged pieces in it.
Right.
Parts of it are forged. And when we talk about that sound, it's really all about like where the hollow points are, some of the materials they stick or put inside and on the heads. So it's just a bit more louder acoustically for sure. Let's, while we're there and we've looked at that and we see the advantage of the Ping, let's jump into the 3D scan data before we do the 80 mile an hour test.
Okay.
And we talk about footprint, and if you remember back to the game improvement video, the TaylorMade had a big footprint more because of shape rather than, it wasn't like a...
Right, well, the back's not trailed off and curved. It's pretty much a flat sole.
And I think if you were to look at these clubs from the top, you'd be like, well, that Ping must have the biggest footprint. But in actual fact, the Elyte X kind of beats it to the punch, and the Cobra and the Elyte and the Ping are all in a similar category, and a couple of millimeters.
Yeah, they're not that different. I mean, this obviously looks like it's got the biggest top line, which it does, which is the Callaway X, and it's obviously got a pretty wide footprint. It doesn't look that wide, to be honest with you.
Nice polished finish.
It's kind of rotated, it's polished, right, and it's rounded quite a bit. So it doesn't look as big and bulky as you would think.
Yep. The standout for the footprint is the Mizuno.
Well, that's the whole back is shaved off, as you can see here, and so effectively it's quite a bit thinner.
Yes.
Now, that's a big difference.
And it goes under those 1,000 millimeters. And when we talk about that, we've seen some of the players' distance irons get somewhere near this effective footprint. And remember, effective footprint is taking away those bevels. It's just what we think is going to interact with the ground for most people.
Right.
Obviously, if you have negative shaft lean through impact or really lean the shaft forward, you're going to have some benefits and trade-offs.
Yeah, it's basically moving where you're hitting it from the back to the front.
Right? So that's a standout for me. And then top line thickness. It's not something I can think, right, there's the performance gain or loss.
Right.
But I have been in fittings where people look down and it's got a thin top line. They're like, oh, that looks a bit scary.
Right. And the opposite's true too. You get a better player look down and go, that's big.
That's horrible top line.
Hit that.
I think a lot of you players in this category, you're looking for something confidence inspiring. So
well,
a little bit of
there's something to do with confidence inspiring. That helps, right?
You need to feel good over your golf shot. And that's what this 3D scan data is about. And if we look at offset, the one that's given us the most help is the Ping.
Right.
It really has got the biggest distance between the front of that hosel and the leading edge of the golf club.
Yeah, that's noticeable.
Right.
Yeah, you really see that. It almost looks like a whole club is just set back.
And that's going to help square the face up for you.
Yeah. It's a bigger, bulky looking club. I mean, it looks like it has the widest footprint on the bottom, by the way. If you look at this in the back, I mean, this is pretty chunky.
Toe is really chunky.
Yeah, toe is really chunky, but it is beveled off in the back here, so it's not as wide as it looks. But the reason they put all that weight down there is to get the ball in the air, and that's what it did.
And it works, right?
Yeah, right.
So let's jump into the 80 mile an hour key data. Is there anything that stands out there for you, or are we seeing the same kind of thing as the 70 mile an hour?
Kind of the same thing, really. I mean, we got, obviously, the Ping has the steepest land angle. The interesting thing on distance here is there's 1 yard between all of them.
All of them, right? Even with that stronger loft in the King Tech?
Yep. And really only, what, 4 feet in height?
4 feet, let me see. Yeah, 4 feet in height from the strongest loft to the best do job, which was the Ping.
Yep. So it's not a lot of difference. Actually, the Ping was not as high. I think it was a little bit higher than the other one, so that makes sense. I mean, that's the only real difference I see. Obviously, the difference in loft on the Cobra being a degree stronger doesn't seem to change much, other than definitely launched the lowest.
Right.
Which is also why it didn't spin as much. So
and when you look at the RPMs, they actually did a great job.
Yeah,
stronger
did.
Loft. They're all within tolerance of like what would happen with a tiny little off center here. We're talking 100 RPMs or under.
Yeah, which is not much at all, right? So, they're all close. They definitely look very different. I mean, from the top line dress. I mean, the Cobra looks smaller than the other ones to me.
Yeah.
The Ping probably looks the biggest, but Callaway's pretty big too. So.
Yeah, Callaway's a big boy. Okay, well, let's jump into the last piece of data we know you love, the dispersion chart data. Mark, if we bring that up, we'll have a look at that on the screen.
Yep.
And this is pretty impressive stuff again. I mean, obviously, I think if you look in this, the first impressions is, wow, Mizuno's a standout in that category.
Yeah, it definitely is a pretty tight circle there, yeah.
Yeah. And as we get with any golf shot, the low, the half inch, 12 millimeters down the face is the one that penalizes most of those golf clubs.
Right.
But we saw that the Elyte there, look how tight those groupings are. Other than
they're really good unless they're thin, right? So if you take a divot all the time, then this is actually probably a pretty good golf club because its sweet spot's a little higher on the face.
Right.
The other ones are all pretty good too.
Cobra's a little more right biased than the others. Ping's maybe a little more right biased in this test than the others. We let you figure this out. Like, this is so much data. You can jump into the square yards as a whole. You could jump into the square yards per location of impact. So jump in the comments.
You carve it up a million ways. I mean, they're all good, really good golf clubs, and this definitely they're all distance-oriented clubs. So.
Yeah. We'd love to hear your feedback on this. We assume there's a lot of you out there in these categories and giving these a hit. And we're looking at benefits and trade-offs for these offsets and the soles. And like, we need that empirical evidence. Obviously, we get it in the fitting bay and we see results with different players. And everyone's a little bit different, even in terms of, like you mentioned, the sound is going to have an impact.
I mean, for me, I don't care about sound much. I have deaf in one ear anyway, and it's the one that faces the ball, so it actually works out really well. But you know, for some people that's important. They can't stand that. So that's one of the things. How it looks is another thing. And some people look at big, bulky clubs and say, I can't hit that, it's huge. Other people say, well, it looks friendly. Yeah. And so, you know, it's a mix of a lot of things. Yeah. And in the bay, like you said, contact's really king, and a lot to do with that is the sole and how it interacts with the ground. Even on a bay and with a mat, you know, you need to get the ball on the club. Yeah.
These videos are all about giving you a head start when you're booking your fitting. You want to interact with your fitter from a knowledge base. If you're going into a worldwide golf retail location and you're just shopping, make sure you get with an expert. Talk these things through. Get your own evidence by hitting them, getting a fitting. We can't bang that drum hard enough. Obviously, this is what it's about.
Especially when you look at the, you know, you got 4 clubs here within a yard. Right. Which one's better? Whichever one you hit better is the right one.
That's caption. We're going to save that as the tagline. We look forward to seeing you next time. We've got plenty more content to come.